Hello, this is Mandy Bass. I've been helping business owners and professional advisors break through income ceilings since 1996. If you look at my website, mandybass.com, you will see dozens of testimonials from my current and past clients. What you're about to see here on this video is an excerpt of a webcast on growing a business. If you like what you see, please feel free to visit my website and send me an email so we can explore the possibilities of working together. Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Mandy Bass. Thank you for joining us today. The reason that I wanted to do this program at this time is that there are only a few pivotal moments in the life of a person or a business where the environment exists that the actions that you take, the moves you make, are backed by so much natural momentum that you can literally leap to new heights, new levels of success, new levels of growth. And I really do believe if you've looked at all the economic indicators, if you've looked at what's been going on in the world over the past few years, I really believe that that time for most businesses is right now. That time for people who are self-employed or in business for themselves, this is your time to take advantage of the natural environment which exists and to really get yourself positioned in such a way that this can be the pivotal year of your success. This can be the time where you ride enormous waves of opportunity that are coming your way and use it to secure your future. So I'm going to ask you now to turn off all the distractions that are going on around you. If you have your window open with your emails, or you've got your cell phone next to you and you're checking your taxes, or whatever it is that you do, I'm going to ask you just for the next 45 minutes to an hour to give me your undivided attention and recognize that your thoughts, your actions now can truly change your life in very rewarding and exciting ways, but only if you take advantage of this moment. We're all here to grow a business, whether you're in the beginning stages, whether it doesn't matter what the life cycle of your business is in right now. Everybody that's here on this call wants to grow their business, and really there were only three ways to do that. To get more clients, right? That's typically when people say they want to grow their business, they're looking to get more clients. So you can get more clients. You can get your current clients to give you more volume or work with you more often. And this would be the same if you were an attorney or a financial planner, a CPA, a person in construction doing remodeling. Doesn't matter what kind of business you're doing. If you're selling marketing services, you can get more clients, you can get more frequency from your existing clients, or you can work on getting bigger types of customers, bigger clients, charging more and building the level of value that you are actually providing for your customer or client. So those are really very simple. There's just three ways to do that. In other words, you can use your time and energy generating more leads, getting more business from existing clients, charging higher fees, offering additional products and services to your existing customers, or getting bigger cases, getting more referral business. Those are the ways that we have to grow a business. Those are really the only ways that we have to grow a business. And all those ways, each and every one of them, depending on what your strengths and weaknesses are, what the market trends are, what's going on in your industry, in your geographical area with your target market, will extract from you a certain amount of time, energy, and money, and work from your team. Okay, so some of you are in business with one or two people supporting you, and others have larger, more employees. But regardless, these are the only ways to truly grow a business, and all of them require different amounts of time, energy, and money. Obviously, the strategy, or the way most people think about when they think about they're growing their business, which is really about marketing and getting more clients, that typically, which we all need to do, I mean, new clients are the fuel, that the engine that actually drives your business. But the front end, the new clients, finding new leads, new sources of business, always take the most amount of time, energy, and money. Obviously, when it comes to growing a business and creating strategic growth, looking at creating a strategic plan, the goal is to use the least amount of resources to get the best possible return on investment. So return on investment, or ROI, is very important to your strategic planning process, because for every dollar you spend, you need to be getting dollars back in return. And in order for you to get more dollars back in return and to know what that is, you have to measure it. What gets measured gets improved. And what I find surprisingly in businesses that have been around even a long time, that they are very, very lax in really looking at their return on investment. They don't know necessarily where their clients and customers come from, what referral sources are generating the most amount of revenue. A lot of people I know have websites, right? And they have their websites and they have Google Analytics installed in their websites, but not that many people are actually looking at it on a regular basis to see what's working and what's not working. So the very first thing that we need to make sure that we've got going on in our business are systems in place that measure what your results are. Because if you can measure and you can monitor, you can make sure that everything is monetized. Now, sometimes there's going to be situations where it doesn't just turn out to be. There are other factors that influence what it is that you're doing, or why you're doing it. Maybe you want to break into a new market, you want to get exposure. There's other things that you might be doing for different reasons. But pretty much, even in that case, you want to see what you're spending and what you are getting back for that spend. And if you monitor and track your expenses as well as your results, then you're able to adjust accordingly and make smarter, better decisions about everything that you're doing. So I promised you a program today that would show you not just how to grow your business, but also how to multiply your results. You see, most people, when they think about growing a business, focus only on getting new customers. That's it. But if you want to multiply your business without going broke, without going into bankruptcy, you've got to work a lot smarter than just with a focus on lead generation. So let's take a look at this example here that everybody that can identify with. Of course, your specific numbers, your percentages are going to be different, but the basic principles are the same. Let's take a look here at this test case that you have in front of you. I work a lot in healthcare, in with lawyers, and with financial planners, and people who are looking at qualified, working with an advisory capacity, working with qualified leads that come through referral sources. So, but you can adjust this to anything that works in your business and what your numbers are. I'm just going to show you this as a way of example. Let's take this case where this person is bringing in 10 qualified leads, and from those qualified leads, they are actually converting 5 of those prospects into new clients. That's pretty good. And you need to have, your leads have to be qualified in order to do that. In other words, when I talk about qualified leads, I'm talking about people who are in your target market, who have the money and are willing to pay for the services that you offer. And let's say that the average client is buying at a rate of about $250 per unit. So that could be a widget. It could be an attorney at $250 an hour. It could be an insurance person who is selling a particular type of insurance at $250 a unit or per thousand or something like that. So, and your average sale is 10 units. So that means your average case or your average sale is $2,500. Those 10 qualified leads, which translated into 5 new clients, is actually going to translate into $12,500 worth of fees or sales. So what happens is, in most cases, is when people are looking to grow their business, what do? The first thing that they say they want to work on, and this is just in my experience over the last 25 years or so in working with people, people normally tell me that they need to get more leads, and sometimes that's totally true. So we're going back. This is just what you see in front of you now. There's a starting point. It's just a repetition of what I had there before. So let's see what a 20% increase in lead generation can yield you, can get you. If you had, instead of 10 qualified leads, 12 leads, that would be 2 new leads, a 20% increase in lead generation, you would have 6 new clients at $250 a unit, and you would end up with $15,000 in revenue versus $12,500 in revenue that you had previously. Okay? So that is one way certainly to do it, is to, for your 20% increase, is to work on lead generation. Another way, another tactic, would be to improve your conversion. What do I mean by that? I mean that most people that I work with do not do a good enough job in their, what I would call your sales process. That is, after you have found a lead, after somebody has come to you, or you've met somebody through networking, or you get a lead over the internet, or whatever the way is, you do public speaking and somebody indicates their interest, whatever the strategies are that that you're using to get your leads, most people do a pretty poor job of conversion. So getting that lead to become a client, either because of fear of rejection, because things just fall through the cracks, they get busy, they don't have the systems in place to really shore up that conversion of the qualified lead into the client. Let's imagine, and I've never seen a business, no matter what kind of business, and all that, I've worked with possibly hundreds and possibly thousands of self-employed people and small business owners over the years. So I have never found an instance where in working with somebody we weren't able to get an improvement in conversion. So let's imagine that in your business right now, what you did was you improved your systems and were able to, out of those 10 leads, instead of getting 5 new clients, you were able to squeak out another client, a 60% conversion ratio of the qualified people versus a 50. And remember, getting a qualified lead, you may receive, depending on what business you're in, 10 leads, and only one of those leads may be qualified. So right now I'm just talking about qualified leads because the rest really are just a waste of your time, energy, and money. But let's imagine that you could squeak out an improvement in your conversion. Then everything else stayed the same. You didn't spend any extra money on lead flow. You didn't raise your fees. You didn't sell any more units. Everything else was the same. Your average sale was the same. You could also accomplish that $15,000 in revenue, the same accomplishment as you made a little while ago when we imagined the scenario where you were increasing your leads by 20%. The difference between these two tactics is that one is much less expensive typically and requires less energy than the other one does. Not to say the first one's bad, because we all need a steady new flow of leads all the time. But I'm just wanting to show you that there are a lot of different ways that you can actually accomplish the same type of results. And what's going to work for you is going to depend a lot on your own particular situation. The third tactic that we could do to get to that 15,000 mark from the 12,500 would be a 20% fee or pricing increase. Now, that doesn't just necessarily mean that you are increasing your fees with no value. What I always want to look at when I'm looking at a fee increase is to say, how can we increase the value that we are delivering? How can we increase the value in order to justify that new price category, that new price range? And a lot of, because of the way the economics have been over the past 5 years or so, or maybe not 5, but maybe 3 or 4 years at the very least, many of the professionals that I work with, the advisors that I work with, have not increased their fees for many years. And so the thing is, it's time. If you're one of those people, it may be time. If you're a CPA or an attorney or a financial advisor, you may want to look at what you're charging in terms of your fees, and whether there is a capacity there to be able to improve your value and or simply raise your fees. Because in some cases that's a long overdue, but still I always like to, whenever I'm looking at a business strategically, it's always about ultimately the client and what is the value that I'm able to deliver to my client. So that fee increase, with everything else being the same, of 20% from 250 to 300, with everything else staying the same, increases the average sale, and thereby you end up with your $15,000 in revenue. Okay. The fourth tactic is simply to work on, depending on your type of business, is to work on increasing volume. In other words, either the frequency of the interactions that you have with your clients, or finding a way to give good reason to your clients or customers to increase their volume. And that also is another way, a very easy way of being able to get that, eke out a single or double-digit percentage increase in your revenues. And in this case, we're just using the 20%, and by increasing the average units from 10 to 12, we can get to the $15,000 mark. Now, the fifth tactic really is really a modification of the first tactic, but a lot of people think about it very differently. And that is because while it is a way to increase your lead flow, it's also a much, typically when you increase your lead flow this way, you have a much more compliant potential prospective customer or client who is better to work with, easier to close, and comes to you with an expectation of using your services. And that is to increase your referrals. So, everything else being the same, staying back to the starting point that we had, getting back to the $12,500 worth of revenue to get to your $15,000 mark, you would need 2 referrals, okay, at the $2,500 average sale, and those 2 referrals would yield you from those 10 leads. So you'll get 20%. So it may be one person who is referring you to people, or a constant flow of referrals. We're working in a referral program. Anything that you're going to do when it comes to business development needs to be systematic and done strategically. But let's say I promised you that we wanted to look at how you could actually multiply, not just grow your business by 20%, but how are we going to multiply your business? Well, the way we're going to do it, is to actually look at small tactical improvements in each of these various areas, starting with the lowest hanging fruit. And what do I mean by that? I mean that all of these strategies require a certain amount of attention, time, energy, and money. And the place you want to start is wherever in your business you can extract the best results from the least amount of resources. That's always the place you want to start. And then you want to strategically make tactical improvements in all your processes, in your lead flow, making sure that you are putting more resources into the places that are really working for you. And sometimes people do some of their own marketing, they use networking, they do their own internet strategies. Keep in mind that your time is money. It's like a Janus, with the multiple heads. It's the different side of exactly the same coin. If you're investing your time into any areas, you've got to ask yourself, what is my time worth? And is this the best use of my resources? If you really are good at tracking and looking at your results and making adjustments, being flexible, it's very hard being in small business today. You've got a lot of competition, no matter what it is that you're in. You're competing for people's time, you're competing for their energy, you're competing for money. So being in business, it takes a lot of work and focus. And you've got to compete with it. Competing with big business, you don't have the money that big business does. You don't have the budget. But what you do have is flexibility. There is value in being small and agile and flexible. And what you can do as a small or independent business owner, what you can do is you can adjust and be flexible. But you don't know how to adjust and be flexible if you're not looking at what you're doing, if you're not monitoring, measuring, making sure that what you're doing is working, and adjusting as need be, looking with real information, not just what you think is true, but what is really true. One of the things that I notice about people in business is that their memories are distorted. What will happen is somebody will put an ad in somewhere, or put some have something going on, and maybe they've had an ad in the Yellow Pages for 2 years and have hardly ever gotten any results. And then all of a sudden, in 1 week, they get 2 phone calls from that particular ad. If you ask them at that point what's really working for you and what's not, they'll tell you that that Yellow Page ad is what's working for them because it's what is closest in their memory, and so their memories become distorted based on what has happened in the most recent past. And those of you, I know we have a few attorneys on the call today, those of you that have ever been in trial or whatever, you know that people's memories are not very accurate. So you need to base your information on real measures, real results. You know, none of this makes any difference to you if you're not tracking, because you don't even know. How will you know where to improve, what the lowest hanging fruit is? If you don't know what the lifetime value of your average customer is, how do you know what your acquisition cost of that customer should be? How do you know whether it's worth going that extra mile to get that specific or particular type of client? And one of the other things that I know is that different types of referral sources or different types of lead sources generate different types of customers, some that are more compliant than others, some that are harder to convert than others, and also more long-term customers. Most of my clients come to me through referral. And those clients who come to me through referral, I have clients that have worked with me since the 90s. Okay, so my focus is always looking for, so their lifetime value to me is much greater than somebody who's just looking for something, somewhere to work for, a quick fix for, 3 months, or just to work really quickly, who skips from person to person, from philosophy to philosophy. My philosophy in business is that your business growth, if you're an entrepreneur or small business owner, your business growth is very dependent on your own personal growth. To me, I think those things are very much linked to one another. I'll talk about that a little bit more. But for now, let's just talk about multiplying results. I promised you that I'd show you how to multiply results. And that is when we look at making small strategic improvements in every area of your business, obviously starting with the best results for the least amount of investment first, and then working through all your systems to make sure that you're getting, extracting and squeezing all the opportunity that you can from your current model. Okay? And then sometimes it's time to change your model, but mostly people aren't extracting all the volume that they can. And even if they are, in a lot of cases, it's not systematized enough to a place where we can really grow, where it creates the capacity to be able to grow. So let's look at the example in front of us. From the 10 leads that we had before, this would be increasing that to 12 leads, not a huge difference. And working on the sales conversion process to make that a 60% instead of 50%, not a huge deal at all. Raising the value of what you're offering so that you can charge more money per unit, per hour, or per whatever it is for you, and then averaging more frequency so that you are able to generate a $3,600 average sale because you've made those strategic improvements. Then that same scenario would generate you $25,920 in revenue. And let's say you could get 3 referrals from those 12 leads. And I'm saying from the 12 leads, not necessarily the 7.2 clients, because if you do a really good job in your sales conversion process, A lot of the people who are qualified but may not be ready to work with you, or something comes up, those people, because you've invested your time in them, may even refer you clients as well. So I get a lot of referrals from people who know me, who've attended my low cost or no cost programs that I occasionally offer from time to time. And those people will, in fact, send me referrals. Maybe they're not the right match for me, but they'll send referrals of other people that they know. So if you could generate those 3 referrals from that scenario, now you're talking of growth. Instead of the 12,500 or the 15,000, now we're talking about $32,400. Now, obviously, this is just a test case, and we're just working with numbers, and there may be areas of your business where it's possible to get a 20% improvement here or there, sometimes 30 or 40%, and in some cases there may be no room for improvement in some of the areas. That's okay. The overall point that I'm trying to make is that ideally what you want to look at when you're looking at, especially if you've been in business for a while, and even if you're starting out, you want to say, what are my best practices? What are the ways that I can create a systematic process that is going to reliably and consistently produce results that I can expect? Because that gives you security, that gives you confidence, it gives you the freedom to be able to invest where you need to invest when you've got the kinds of systems in place that produce for you reliably. And the only way to get there is to begin by tracking, because that's the only way you're going to know and to be able to find areas to improve. Begin multiplying your business. Recognize that a lot of small improvements in strategic areas it can really make the difference in your business this year. There's a huge wave of opportunity that is coming your way, and you need to get yourself into a position and a place with the systems and the marketing and all the things that you need to get you to make the most of this. This is going to be a pivotal year for many people in business, and I'd like to help you make it a pivotal year for your success and to help you have the security in the future that you want. So thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you got a lot out of our session, and I look forward to having your free consultation with you. Goodbye and good luck and to your success.